So, pre-Badge 3 isn't actually too bad, as there's only 38 new Pokemon in this section. Thankfully, the first two are gifts. After beating up Team Galactic inside of the Eterna headquarters, I was able to grab a Porygon from the same room that Jupiter was in, as well as an egg that contains a Togepi from Cynthia before getting to the cycling shop. Since I was already given the bicycle at the beginning of the game, he just gives me a Dawnstone instead. Well, just 2 sections too late, I guess. Oh well, I just moved south towards Route 206, and since I've already cleared out the trainers on Cycling Road, I just went underneath to capture Stunky, Magby, Mankey, Numel, Slugma, Spoink, and Gligar from the random encounters, and Torkoal from the Poke Radar. There's also a Thunderstone on this route, but I figured I didn't really have to pick it up since I already got enough in the underground, so I ignored it and moved my way into Wayward Cave. This area is actually mandatory in Renegade Platinum, but before I got to Mira, I made sure to capture Mawile, Gibble, Baltoy, and Sableye from Wild Encounters, finishing up the event with her and going into the entrance underneath the Cycling Road in order to grab a Gabite from a static encounter. This doesn't exactly help much with the fact that I have to get it to level 48 either way, but I'm sure I'll at least have a few rare candies by the end of the section to help me out. Oh yeah, and I guess the TM for Dazzling Gleam will help out later. I'll explain why in a bit. After heading out, I'm able to get back into Route 207, the area I was blocked away from entering back during the pre-Badge 1 section, but of course that means there's no new encounters here. However, there is a metal coat that I can grab by taking the southern path and crossing the bridge next to the hiker here. The last area with new encounters is on the other side of this Mount Coronet entrance, and that's over on Route 208, where I can capture Smeargle, Seviper, 2 Jigglypuff, Zangoose, and Skitty from random encounters, Dunsparce from the Poke Radar, and Remoraid from the Old Rod. And with that, that's all the encounters. Pretty nice, right? Well, I guess there are still a few items left to grab, though. Still here on Route 208, I was able to get the odd Keystone from this guy by the Honey Tree, and we will need to use it later. In the gate to Hearthome City, there's a battle with Elite 4 Aaron, and even though I only have 2 badges, I handily destroyed him, evolving Stunky into Skuntank at level 34 before heading into Hearthome itself. This is the last new place I can go to for the section, which has 2 items I need to get. Firstly, a shiny stone from the contest hall where you'd normally get the contest pass, and an upgrade from Bebe in the house next to the Pokemon Center. Well, there we go, that makes a few items that can evolve some of my Pokemon. So I evolved Onix into Steelix with the Metal Coat, Skitty into Delcatty with the Moonstone, Jigglypuff into Wigglytuff with a Moonstone, Togepi into Togetic with Max Happiness, and into Togekiss with a Shiny Stone, and Porygon into Porygon 2 with the upgrade. Now it's time for grinding. And honestly, I really didn't know where I should grind, so I just went ahead and stuck with Route 208. The reason being that Zangoose, Seviper, and Smeargle all give a ton of EXP, more than the Beedrills from the last section, and using that along with my 75-25% split strategy that I used last section made it very easy. Evolving Mantike into Mantine in 1 level with Remoraid in the party, Remoraid into Octillery at level 25, Slugma into Magcargo at level 32, Mankey into Primeape at level 28, Magby into Magmar at level 30, Spoink into Grumpig at level 32, Numel into Camerupt at level 33, Baltoy into Claydol at level 32, and Gabite into Garchomp at level 48. Garchomp ended up being relatively easy since I still had a few rare candies from the last section, and I got a number of them just to candy up from level 34. With that said, I finished the section with 378 Pokemon and a time of 99 hours and 2 minutes. Less than 7 hours is pretty darn good if I do say so myself. Pre-Badge 4 time, and it actually has an even 50 Pokemon. It's kind of crazy that we're going to have over 80% of the decks halfway through the badge quest, but I guess I should expect something like that in a ROM hack. Firstly, there's a mission I have to take down in the Pokemon Mansion, taking out Team Galactic for the 3rd time, getting both a gift egg and the lucky egg. I'm pretty sure this item will actually be a bit worse than the EXP share though for my 75-25% split strategy, but I'll have to compare at the end of this section during the grind just to make sure. Anyway, I went ahead and hatched the egg as fast as possible, getting Manaphy. Well, I didn't expect to get a legendary this early, but I will take it. The Trophy Garden also has a few wild encounters, those being Pichu, Pikachu, Igglybuff, and Happiny from random encounters, and Castform from the Poke Radar. Now that this is all handled, I went ahead and organized my PC, then evolved Pikachu into Raichu with a Thunderstone before heading east of Hearthome City to Route 209, where there's 9 new encounters to nab. including Glameow, Snubbull, Meowth, Vulpix, Bonsly, and Mime Jr., Purugly from the Poke Radar, evolving Snubbull into Granbull in 1 level, Vulpix into Ninetales with the Firestone, Bonsly into Sudowoodo in 1 level since it already knows Mimic, same for the Mime Jr. into Mr. Mime, and that just leaves Spiritomb by inserting the odd Keystone into the Broken Stone Tower. There's also the Good Rod here on Route 209, and while I don't technically need it, since the Old Rod can get everything that the Good Rod can get, it just means that I can catch them at a higher level, therefore letting me grind less. Also on this route is the Lost Tower, and while it doesn't house any new encounters right now, it does have the Reaper Cloth, which I made sure to use immediately after getting out and entering Salacion Town, evolving Dusclops into Dusknoir with it. There's also another area connected here, that being the Salacion Ruins, where I can grab an Unknown. There's also a Fire, Water, and Thunderstone in the side rooms here, but I just ignored them since I already have enough of them from the underground. Salacion Town isn't exactly the most useful town in terms of encounters either, but it will have some breeding later on, so I guess that'll be fun. Moving up into Southern Route 210 lets me encounter Pinsir, evolving Meowth into Persian at level 28, Tauros, Scyther, and Miltank, and over on Route 215 I can catch Drowsy, Hypno, and Lickitung from the random encounters, as well as Absol from the Poke Radar. This route also has both the Razorfang and Razorclaw, which we'll need both of for this section. Alright, everything has been obtained before Veilstone City, which doesn't really mean that much. I'm just running out of ways to transition to new areas other than moving on or now we can access. I'm trying my best. I'm not the most creative writer alive, but I digress. Veilstone City has 3 items that I need to get though, first being the Dubious Disc from the man in the house behind the Pokemon Center, the coin case from a Harlequin in a house in the southern part of the city, and then a metal coat from the game corner, which I can get by exchanging 2,000 coins for it. This means I can go ahead and evolve Porygon 2 into Porygon Z with the Dubious Disc, and Scyther into Scizor with the metal coat. Now that I'm caught up with item evolutions though, I can move out into Route 214, which only has 2 encounters, but I made sure to evolve Lickitung into Licky at level 33 while knowing Rollout, Sneasel into Weavile at 1 level while holding the Razorclaw during the night, and Gligar into Gliscor in 1 level while holding the Razorfang during the night before nabbing Cacnea from Wild Encounters and Spinda from the Poke Radar. But again, we've got another item we need. Like the Oranberry and Old Gateau before, I need a Citrus Berry for later, so I made sure to pick these while also heading into the Maniac Tunnel, grabbing Ditto and Hippopotas to finish off this section's captures. And I'm sure that last one perked your ears a little bit, since now it's time for breeding. I've got to breed exactly 2 Pokemon, Manaphy once, and Vaporeon 6 times. This doesn't take very long at all since Renegade Platinum has some nice quality of life changes, letting me hatch a Fione and 6 Eevee relatively fast, evolving them into Flareon with the Firestone, Jolteon with the Thunderstone, Espeon with the Sunstone, Umbreon with the Moonstone, Glaceon with the Ice Stone, and Leafeon with the Leaf Stone. I also evolved my Happiny into Chansey with the Oval Stone and leveling it up once since I forgot to catch one on Route 209, but now it's time for the short grind. I did cut one of my pickup Zigzagoons to ensure that Chansey stayed in the party with the Soothe Bell the entire time, as to maximize my efficiency here. While grinding on Route 214, since it's the newest area seemed reasonable, I actually headed back over to Route 210 since I have a 45% chance combined of finding Scyther, Pinsir, Miltank, or Tauros, all of which are massive EXP dumps, and while yeah, Route 209 would be nice because of Chansey, it's only a 10% chance of encountering it, along with a ton of small yield Pokemon that are better off left untouched. With that, I just slapped the Lucky Egg onto all of my lead Pokemon instead of the EXP share, then realized that that was the wrong idea and switched back, evolving Cacnea into Cacturn at level 32, Hippopotas into Hippowdon at level 34, and Chansey into Blissey with max happiness. Yeah, sadly I couldn't get it to evolve earlier than that, but it did end up evolving shortly after Hippopotas, so it wasn't that much of a time grind. With that said and done, I headed into the Veilstone City Gym, saving in front of Maylene with a total of 428 Pokemon, and a time of 102 hours and 32 minutes. 3.5 hours is nothing to scoff at, and I'm curious to know if I can finish this challenge in less than 120 hours. Pre-Badge 5 is the shortest section I've had so far, since there's only 23 new Pokemon to capture, but that doesn't mean that there's not going to be a bit of work that goes into getting them. Now that I can head onward, the Valor Lakefront is opened up, where I can capture Girafarig as a wild encounter. Route 213 also has some in the form of Shuckle from the grass and Wailmer from the Good Rod, but there's also a few items here in the form of the Electrizer and Magmarizer from the Hiker and the Black Belt inside of the hotel here on the route. There's nothing else between here and Pistoria City though, so I just made my way into that Pokemon Center so I could evolve Electabuzz into Electivire with the Electrizer, and Magmar into Magmortar with the Magmarizer. 5 down, 18 to go, and a ton of them can be found here in Pistoria as well as the Great Marsh. However, there's 2 things I need to do before those encounters. First of those is that the move tutor is here, so that means I can finally teach Piloswine Ancient Power and shove a rare candy into its mouth to evolve into Mamoswine. Also, there's a gift Lapras from an old woman south of the Pokemon Center, so that's pretty convenient. Encounter time again, and first up is Carvanha from the Good Rod right here in Pistoria, which leaves just 2 more areas left for the section, and the Great Marsh has a few hard Pokemon to grab, since of course it's the Safari Zone of Gen 4. Firstly are Gulpin and Swalot in Area 5, Kangaskhan in Area 4, and Tropius, Kecleon, and Carnivine in Area 1. I expected that to be a little bit more painful, but the fact that I don't have to use the goggles in the observatory area of the marsh is quite nice. The weirdest part about this is that the guide I was using claimed that Kecleon was available in the Great Marsh in the same area as Kangaskhan, but according to the newest changelog made by Drayano himself, it's a Poke Radar encounter on Southern Route 210 exclusively, which I can't get to until I get the secret potion from Cynthia later on, but then I randomly found it in Area 1 while looking for Carnivine. Very weird, but I guess I'm glad I didn't accidentally fail the challenge. Last area for the section is Southern Route 212, where I can nab myself a Grimer, Ekans, Coughing, and Arbok from Wild Encounters, as well as Muck and Wheezing from the Poke Radar. Anything to reduce grinding as much as possible is appreciated, and the fact that all 3 of these evolution lines are here in full force is very much appreciated, because I hate these things. Grinding poison types is always a pain. However, there is indeed one last encounter for the section, and we're going legendary hunting already. Firstly, I need to head back into Eterna City and talk to the girl with the Clefairy in the Pokemon Center to help it learn Dazzling Gleam. This is where the TM comes in that I got from Mira, which I said was going to be helpful later. This is where. Then I need to go to Salacion Town and talk to the old woman in the house by the ledges with Rapidash in my party. Then lastly head to Pastoria City to talk to the boy outside the southernmost house with Gyarados in my party. Now that the errands have been completed, I can go back to Salacion Town, grab that second Jigglypuff that I didn't evolve, and head into the bottom of the Salacion ruins. There's a sign here with an option, and once I click yes, I am able to encounter the mythical Dorachi. It's at level 40 and can hold its own pretty well, but thanks to a massive amount of Ultra Balls I've managed to score thanks to pickup and just straight up buying them from the Pokemart, it was a very easy capture to obtain. Now all that's left is grinding, and hilariously enough, I did not need a single wild Pokemon. Instead, taking out the trainers on Route 212 and the Pastoria City Gym lets me evolve Wailmer into Wailord at level 36, and Carvanha into Sharpedo at level 30. Ending the section with a total of 451 Pokemon, and a time of 104 hours and 50 minutes. Around 2 hours is insanely nice for a section like this, so let's keep up the pace. Pre-Badge 6 is yet another very short section, housing only a dozen Pokemon in total, but since we've already started getting legendaries, let's just say that this section has a few. After getting the Secret Potion and clearing out the Psyduck on Route 210, I'm able to get Skarmory on the northern side, riding out the area and avoiding trainers as much as possible to get to Celestic Town, where I can get Relicanth with the Good Rod, as well as the HM for Surf from Cynthia's grandmother. At this point, I know I've got to blast through the rest of this game to make that 120-hour goal, so I immediately headed out and back to Mount Coronet's basement lake, where Seal is available while surfing. The path to the PAL Park is also a required area for Renegade Platinum, so Route 219 opens up another encounter compared to the first section with Surf, but before grabbing that, I evolved Seal into Dugong in a single level, putting it away and catching Tentacool very quickly. It evolved into Tentacruel after a single level as well on the route, since there's plenty of trainers that I can just run into and sweep with Salamence and give Tentacool the EXP share. It just makes this late game very easy. Even further beyond though is Route 220, where there aren't any surfing encounters, but there are some Good Rod encounters in the form of Love Disc and Corsola. So once I make it through the last bit of the area and make it to the Pal Park, I'm able to go ahead and fight Dorachi, taking him out, and then fly back to Jubilife and head west towards Canalave City, giving the tea to the guard like I would in Saffron City in Kanto, and take on my rival again before leaving on the boat out to Iron Island, where Quillfish awaits. This isn't all though, since after taking out Riley, the Protector is housed in the first room on the left of the entrance to the actual cave, so that's very important. Sadly, I do have to take out this side quest before being able to head back to the mainland and send Byron along with it, so I do so. But before I dash off for the last 2 encounters though, I made sure to evolve Rhydon into Rhyperior using the Protector. And now it's time for the hard stuff. Firstly, we need to, you guessed it, do errands to catch legendaries. There's a Shroomish on Route 203 that needs an Oranberry, which turns into a Mew and disappears. Okay, well how about this Baneri that needs a Citrus Berry on Route 209? It's Mew and disappears, so that can only mean one thing. The Torchic over in Pastoria City here is Mew again and needs an old Gateau, so I give it such and it runs off once more. The last area I need to go back to is Route 201, where there's a Pachirisu. However, it doesn't need any item to turn back into Mew, and I can finally encounter and catch it. It's a low catch rate, but after some Super Fangs and holding it down, I'm able to nab it in a few Ultra Balls. One last mythical for this section, and that's Celebi. Oddly enough, there's a GS ball inside of the shrine over in Celestic Town, so I grabbed it, brought it into Eterna Forest, which spawns a few interesting portals. There's trainers at each of these 8 portals, which happen to coincide with the Johto gym leaders, but after taking them out, I'm able to interact with one final portal in the center of the forest, so I saved in front of it and battled Celebi, doing the same thing as I did with Mew and capturing it within about a dozen Ultra Balls. And alright, that just leaves me to clear out the Canalave City Gym and save in front of Byron with a total of 463 Pokemon and a time of 106 hours and 15 minutes. Well geez, those mythical quests took a while, but at least we're still on a good pace. So I know it's a little jarring, but there are no new Pokemon until the Distortion World. I don't care about the other events. Sure, I could talk about Candace and Maylene inside of the Snow Point Temple trying to stop Regigigas, or I could talk about the normal Veilstone headquarters Team Galactic thing, but I don't care. I'm skipping right over it, and I'm going to Giratina. I made sure to save before encountering it, and boy, this is a weird one to capture in this one. Since it's Ghost, I can't use Super Fang to whittle it down, and since for some reason nothing I can use in this frickin' game gets frickin' False Swipe, and it's been driving me nuts this entire time, but I haven't complained about it until now, when I really wish I could use it, and couldn't even if I had the ability to. And since I don't really have the best status afflictions, nor do I have many Pokemon even within 10 levels of it, I basically had to hope to God I can hold it down long enough to capture it. Fortunately, through a few healing items, I managed to capture Giratina even through a burn. And don't worry, that's not even close to the end of the legendaries for this section. Now that I've finished the story events, though, I went back to Professor Rowan in Sand Gem Town, and after talking to him, it's time for some massive legendary hunting. First up are the Kanto birds. Articuno is over in the snowy area of Mount Coronet, so I saved in front of the portal and captured it within 15 Ultra Balls. Second is Zapdos over in the Valley Windworks, and after using Surf to get over to the small island at the back to find the portal, I saved, kicked its ass, and caught it within 12 Ultra Balls. Third and final one is Moltres, but it's unavailable until after the 8th gym, so we'll be holding off for a bit. Onto the Gen 2 legendary beasts, Raikou is over in Route 208. Once I climbed the rocks, I saved in front of the portal, whipped it into next week, and caught it within 20 Ultra Balls. Kind of a pain, but I guess it was expected eventually. Entei's next up on the docket, same deal except on Eastern Route 211 up on the rocks and in a portal. I nabbed it in 7 Ultra Balls, which is pretty nice, leaving just Suicune. It's up on Route 213, up some rocks of course, and in a portal, but it only took around 9 Ultra Balls to grab, so all of these have been relatively easy to hold down, also thanks to not being Ghost type and only level 60 rather than level 70, so I'm very appreciative of that. Gen 3 time, and 2 of the Golems are available. Regice is in Mount Coronet's basement lake, with Wailord and Relicanth in my party, so I can go to the back of the room and stand on each of the dots once, then talk to the statue, engaging in a battle and capturing Regice within 13 Ultra Balls. Registeel is the same deal, Wailord and Relicanth in the party except for being in Iron Island. Dots, Statue, and a capture in 16 Ultra Balls are in order for the Iron Giant. And finally, Gen 4 Pixie time. And fortunately, Mesprit isn't a roamer. They're all in their normal locations of the lakes. So Uxie was caught in Lake Acuity with 18 Ultra Balls, Mesprit in Lake Verity with 13, and Azelf in Lake Valor with 14. With that, that's everything for the pre-Badge 8 section, finishing it off with a total of 474 Pokemon and a time of 108 hours and 28 minutes. 19 to go, and I might be able to get below that 120 hours, just as long as these other legendary quests aren't insanely long, but I kinda have a feeling the last one is. Now that all 8 badges are in hand, there's actually only 2 Pokemon available between now and the Pokemon League, both of which are accessible via Victory Road. Firstly, Moltres is just on Victory Road near the exit, which I can use Rock Climb to the left of the main exit, finding a portal in a separate room. I made sure to hold it down the same way as I did every other legendary, capturing it within a whopping 24 Ultra Balls, since I guess the knockoff Mega Ultra Chicken decided that it didn't get its due respect today. Last up is Shaymin, and this is because for some reason, Drayano decided to send me out to Route 224 before the league. It's kinda neat. Normally you don't actually need to go out here unless you're specifically doing the Shaymin event, which is exactly what we're doing, but I like that he makes it kind of required. After beating Dawn at the end of the route as part of the story, I can go visit Professor Oak himself in Eterna City, yell at him for making me do this in Gen 4 again, and return back to the end of Route 224 and talk to him again there. After etching PP into the stone, I can head down into the Sea Break Path and into the Flower Paradise. And since it's only level 30, it's a cinch to use Super Fang and Thunder Wave and capture it within 7 Ultra Balls. And that's it! Now it's time to assemble a team for the Pokemon League. I've got some nice options, and since the league is full of strong, very competent Pokemon with good AI, I'm gonna make sure that I build the best team possible. So I brought in Giratina, Regice, Zapdos, Salamence, Azelf, and Uxie, and went completely full throttle on them. Giratina, Salamence, and Azelf were amazing for sweeping, mainly the second one since it's the highest level. Uxie and Regice were fantastic walls that let me heal up my main attackers, and Zapdos was generally a good support mon, helping me plow through Aaron, Bertha, Flint, Lucian, and Cynthia herself, hatching my name for the second time in the Renegade Platinum Hall of Fame, with a time of 109 hours and 43 minutes. But we're not quite done yet, there's still 17 more Pokemon to go. After the credits, a ton of the Box Legendaries open up, first of which being Dialga and Palkia. I'm able to head to Celestic Town, speak to the Elder, and then go to Mount Coronet, grabbing the Adamant and Lustrous Orbs from the Waterfall Room, and then head back to the top, where I can interact with the Blue Portal to capture Dialga and 23 Ultra Balls, and with the Pink Portal to capture Palkia and 19. They're both level 70, but thanks to my team of legends and most things being relatively on level, paralyzing, damaging, and whittling these things down was never that hard. Next up are the Gen 2 Box Legendaries in Lugia and Ho-Oh, the first of which needs Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres in my party, great reference to the movie by the way, where I can get the Silver Wing from Professor Oak in Eterna City. Now there's a small portal on Route 220 at the southern end of the route on a small island, where I can capture Lugia within 31 Ultra Balls. Well, we finally hit the 30s in terms of the amount of balls it takes to capture a legendary, but that's fine. I'm expecting Arceus would take around 60 if I wasn't going to use my Master Ball on it. I can do the same with Ho-Oh, just with Raikou, Entei, and Suicune in my party. I can get the Rainbow Wing from Professor Oak, and go capture Ho-Oh at the top of the Lost Tower with 24 Ultra Balls. 13 to go, and we're heading back to Gen 3 territory. Over in Veilstone City, I can interact with the Meteorite in the bottommost pit, and then return up the stairs so that I can engage into a battle with Deoxys. This battle's a little bit crazier, due to the sheer power of Deoxys and the fact that it has Recover and stuff, but it takes a relatively normal 19 Ultra Balls to nab it. Next up is the Moon Duo, first of which being Cresselia. After talking to the boy in the bed in the Sailor's House in Canalave City in the Sinnoh region and Pokemon Renegade Platinum in my PC in my bedroom in my house, I can head over to Full Moon Island and interact with Cresselia directly, no portal needed. It's level 68, so it's a little off scale, but it's still manageable enough to hold down with Thunder Wave and a few other attacks, getting it within 27 Ultra Balls. Darkrai is immediately after this, as the Lunar Wing is dropped by Cresselia, so I bring it back to the boy in the sailor's house to heal him, which then triggers an event over on Route 217, where I can get a member card from the woman inside the dark house near the Ice Rock, which then sends me back to Canalave City so that I can get into the previously locked house north of the Pokemon Center, which then warps me to New Moon Island. A little counterintuitive to run all over the place, but that's fine, since just like Cresselia, in the center of the island is Darkrai. It's also a level 68, but Thunder Wave, a few attacks, and 19 Ultra Balls is enough to put it in its place. Right into the PC to die a horrible death after I delete this save file once this video is over. 10 legends left, and 2 of them are the other 2 available legendary golems. Regirock is all the way over in the post-game islands over on Route 228 with Wailord and Relicanth in the party. There's a cave entrance in a pit that's right next to the gate to the survival area, where I can do the same thing as the other 2. Step on the dots, talk to the statue, and capture Regirock within 17 Ultra Balls. Now that I've got all 3 though, I can head right into the bottom of Snow Point Temple where Regigigas awaits. It's level 70, and Slow Start is definitely in play here since I'm attempting to capture it, but thanks to some healing items and Giratina being a really nice wall, I managed to capture it within 23 Ultra Balls, finishing off the golems for the run. Now that all of those have been obtained, I actually can't get anything else until I complete the post-game story over in Stark Mountain, and since I've never played the Renegade Platinum post-game, I've gotta say that this is pretty sweet. There's essentially 6 fake gym badges that I need to get before Buck will let me into Stark Mountain, and while Salamence is at level 100, I'm barely scraping by with just him and some healing items and the other 5 Pokemon just being sackfests, but it ended up working just fine. This opens up the remainder of the legendaries, first of which is Heatran, of course, where I can talk to Buck's grandfather after handling all of the shenanigans with his grandson, letting me battle Heatran in the back room of Stark Mountain. It's also level 68 for some reason, but that just makes it that little bit easier to capture, holding it down and getting it within 14 Ultra Balls. Next up on the docket today is Mewtwo, and it's a bit of a weird one since I don't recognize the item. I can talk to the nurse in the battleground to receive the odd invitation, which I don't think was in the original Platinum, so that's pretty cool. So I go back to Orberg Gate and surf to the far side of the lake in the back of the area to find a portal. I guess this written invitation is from Mewtwo itself? Is it inviting me to a cordial dinner consisting of a medium rare steak? No, it's trying to kick my ass, but I'm able to reciprocate the beatdown, capturing it within 22 Ultra Balls. Half a dozen legendaries left, and why am I not shocked that 5 of them are from Generation 3? It's Latios and Latias time, and since I got the Magma Stone after beating Heatran, I can bribe Steven with it over in Orberg City, who in turn gives me the Soul Dew. For some reason, they're both hovering over Full Moon Island, in which I was able to capture Latias with 14 Ultra Balls and Latios with 8. Not too bad. I haven't had a single-digit capture in a little while. Next up are the Weather Trio, though, and they're in some pretty interesting places. Also, side note, I was looking into the code into this game, and hilariously enough, when you get the blue, red, and jade orbs from Steven after talking to him with Latias and Latios in the party, then subsequently with the Regis in the party, they're replacing the coupons that you'd normally get to trade in for the Poketch at the beginning of the game. But since that was just handed to us and we didn't have to do that little side quest, that opened up 3 items in the game's code. Pretty cool if I do say so myself. What isn't cool is how long it took me to get this trio. Kyogre's in the basement lake of Mount Coronet, and interacting with the portal on the small island in the middle of the lake lets me encounter and capture it within 34 Ultra Balls. New record I guess, but it doesn't stop there. Groudon's back in Stark Mountain, but at least the portal's in the first room. This one took 37 Ultra Balls, but thankfully Rayquaza's a bit more generous. After I found its portal at the bottom of the waterfall at the Pokemon League, I managed to capture it in 19 Ultra Balls. Alright, 492 down, 1 to go. And this one is the most difficult of all of them. Well, at least the quest is. I still have the Master Ball after all. There's a foreign building in Hearthome City that houses a few people as well as an old woman, and after talking to her, I'm able to gain access to 16 Master Trainers. These 16 traders are all the protectors of Arceus' plates, and since I didn't find a single one in the underground, I had to end up searching for all of them. So I went to Route 226 to start off the adventure, and oh boy, yeah, these guys have level 85 Pokemon. So they're kind of like Master Trainers in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, where you can only fight them with one Pokemon of the same type rather than the same species, though. So I laid out the least amount of Pokemon I needed to use so that I would have one for each type, grinding them all to around level 85 in the Pokemon League, then grab the plates. Route 226 for the Flame Plate, Route 219 for the Splash Plate, Sunnyshore City Lighthouse for the Zap Plate, Floraroma Meadows for the Meadow Plate, Snow Point City for the Icicle Plate, Veilstone City for the Fist Plate, Astoria City for the Toxic Plate, Warburg Gate for the Earth Plate, the Pokemon League for the Sky Plate, the Solaceon Ruins for the Spooky Plate, the Celestic Town Ruins for the Draco Plate, the Sendoff Spring for the Dread Plate, and Iron Island for the Iron Plate. I guess there's no plate for fairy types in this game, even though the type was programmed and retroactively added in, but hey, I'll take one less trainer. With all 16 plates collected though, I'm able to head back into the foreign building, talk to the old woman again, and show her all 16 plates. She then tells me to complete the Pokedex, and then I tell her to get her damn glasses and read it harder because I have all 492 other Pokemon. So she hands me the Azure Flute in response. Now it's time. Me versus the god of Pokemon itself, and I'm not even going to try to hype it up because I do still have the Master Ball. Capturing Arceus, keeping it at its place in the PC, and finishing the run with 493 Pokemon and a time of 118 hours and 6 minutes. And wow, this run was actually really fun despite how long it took. Simply put, I love Pokemon ROM hacks, and this certainly kept me entertained for basically every minute, even through the grinding. Coming up with new strategies despite only having played through this game for a challenge once before was pretty fun, and I'm impressed with just how much unique content was jammed into this game. I like to think that in an alternate universe out there, maybe a few other ones, this is just how Game Freak creates their games, and their fans get treated like kings, but unfortunately we're not in that universe. But we do at least have access to these wonderful creations, so I can't be mad. Anyway, if you enjoyed what you saw, make sure to try out the game yourself, link to the patch will be in the description, and I'll see you guys next week with a new video. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, click the bell, tell a friend, and don't spend more than a minute doing that, since if you are, you're taking too long. I want to give a huge shout out to my $10 and above patrons, Landon, Kyle Campbell, Aiden Brandon, Michael Evans, and Justin Dimmenstein. Thank you guys so much for your support. If you'd like to help support as well, you can head over to my Patreon page, link in the description, where you can get access to stuff like videos early, an exclusive role in my Discord server, link also in the description, challenge requests, and much more. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this, and I'll see you guys next time with another challenge. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you next time.